Hello everyone, and welcome back to another installment of Life Stories. My name is Jesse, and I'm so happy to be back. Trent has sustained an injury and needs a little recovery time. Let him know you miss him in the comments. And in the meantime, we've got more stories involving the crazy and privileged adults over at Reddit/entitledparents. Sit back and enjoy, cause we're getting started now. Our first story is titled, Entitled Mother Lets Her Kid Steal My Blind Cane. So a bit of backstory, I'm a 28-year-old woman who just recently went fully blind. When I was a teenager, I volunteered with my local youth group to help rebuild Mississippi after Hurricane Katrina, and while down there I picked up a fungal parasite called histoplasmosis that over a decade migrated to my eyes and slowly caused blindness. I've been totally blind for about a year now, so I'm pretty new to it, but I digress. When I first went blind, I barely left the house and was afraid to go in public. I felt like everyone was staring at me, and in all honesty, I barely knew what I was doing. The transition had been difficult, and I didn't have any support group to teach me. One day, my husband asks if I can take an Uber down to the bank and deposit a rent check, and I reluctantly agree. While out, he messages again and reminds me that we're out of a few crucial groceries. There was a Walmart grocery literally across the street from the bank, so I figure everything in life is an experience, and I'll have to learn how to shop alone eventually, so why not? Everything was fine at first, and I was only grabbing a few things, so I didn't need a cart. I was using my cane and what little echolocation skills I had at the time to get around, but was still bumping into things, as we blind tend to do sometimes. My cane suddenly hit something a bit soft, and I figure maybe I had whacked someone's legs and apologize. Cue entitled kid and entitled mother. Shoot, I'm sorry. Hey, you just hit my son. I'm so sorry, ma'am, I didn't see him there. Entitled mother begins yelling. How could you not see him? He's clearly right here. Now I'm fully blind, but I don't wear sunglasses, mostly because I can't afford a good UV blocking pair. But also, I'm not ever looking for pity or to play the part of a generic blind person. I just want to be treated like a normal person, but I do understand her confusion as blindness is a spectrum, so I try to calmly explain. Ma'am, I'm blind. I can't see anything, let alone your son. That's why I have to use the cane, so I can get around without. She cuts me off. If you're blind, why aren't you wearing big sunglasses? Now, as a blind person, I get a lot of stupid questions, but I understand a lot of them are just people who don't know better, so I try to happily answer as many as I can. Those are really expensive, around $200 for a good pair, and I really don't need any inside. You're not blind, you're faking it! Here is where my blood starts to boil. I can't think of any reason someone would want to pretend to be blind. It's an actual heck, and nothing ticks me off more than when someone calls me a liar when I'm not. Just as I'm about to respond, I feel a tug, and before I blink, I realize this little demon spawn has snatched my $100 cane from my hands. For those of you who don't understand, that's like if you're shopping and suddenly the power goes out and you can't see a single light. Without my cane, I can barely move at all without crashing into anything. My voice gets shaky as I begin to panic. Please, give that back. I really do need it. No, you don't, you liar! My son deserves to play with this more than you! I hear her shuffle away and my expensive cane cracking into metal displays and such as they leave. I start crying and waving my arms in front of me to grab onto something, anything, and end up crashing and falling into a center aisle display, making a loud scene. Without fail, I somewhat curl into a ball and cry. I'm alone in public, in the dark, and I had no idea what to do. Suddenly, I feel a hand on my shoulder and a man's voice, we'll call him AG for awesome guy, asks if I'm okay and to stay right here. I do, but begin to at least sit up and listen. This man must have been tall and built like a tank because his footsteps sounded like a giant, and I felt a suction of wind when he took off. Maybe about 30 or 40 feet away, I hear this loud bellowing like an angry lion and a loud crash. Then before I know it, the man is back and helping me to my feet. He takes my hand and puts my cane into my palms and helps me pick up the items I dropped when I fell into the display. Me wiping tears from my cheeks. Thank you. Thank you so much. I didn't know how to handle that. Don't worry about it. Some people are just monsters. This guy restored my faith in humanity and even helped me finish shopping and helped me out of the store. As we're leaving, I hear the familiar screeching of entitled mother. Something about awesome guy grabbing the cane and pulling hard, flinging her little devil child into a shopping cart. I don't know if she was exaggerating or not, but it would explain the crash I heard. It's easy to feel alone in a world without sight, but even though the sheer terror of being stripped of my cane, at least I know now that there are people willing to stand up for me when I need it. Edit. Because of the sheer overwhelming amount of people asking if you're blind, how are you typing, I'll first answer with my fingers, and secondly, I'm using a screen reader called Narrator that reads the screen. Wherever my cursor or finger is over the screen, it reads. When I type a letter, it reads. Guys, just like Google it or something. Wow, would you look at that? Kind people are indeed still out there, and it warms my heart that such a scary situation was turned into a positive experience thanks to an empathetic stranger. The world needs more people like this, and a few less entitled mothers. Moving on, our next story is called Entitled Mother Yells at Me for Infecting Her Family with Corona Music. Let me introduce you to a new Karen, the Indian Karen, a little longer hair tied into a ponytail and rolled into a bun that serves the function of hiding all of the 7 deadly sins, a voice shrill enough to make all the street cows turn their head to look at their mistress, a gold necklace to announce her dreaded arrival, one that I encountered. I don't know if anyone has read this article. Basically, it tells how some scientists converted coronavirus's famous spike protein into music. I have no idea if it's legit. I thought it was true. It's cool if someone was able to do it and thought I should share it, so I did. To Karen's son, good person, good friend. He is happy that smart people are left in the world. The next morning, my mom calls me from the other room, and I pick up. This was the conversation. Hi, Ma!
You sea-sucker! You sister humper! You son of a gun! How dare you infect my family!
At this point, I just woke up and I'm still in this weird half-asleep phase, wondering to which sister I never had she was talking about.
Shut up, Karen! Don't you speak to my son like that! I'll speak! Shut up or I am hanging up!
What's going on? Who are you?
I have Mrs. Karen on conference. Did you give her son coronavirus?
What? No!
Don't you lie! I have seen the music you send my son! It's coronavirus!
It took me a full minute to realize what she was talking about, and then it hit me. Have you even read the article?
Don't you talk back to your elders!
You're acting pretty elderly now. Those two argued for 15 plus minutes. They started yelling at each other about other things like I am a bad influence. Karen doesn't know how to talk to anyone, stuff like that. It's a translation of what scientists at MIT. I put the phone on speaker, opened the article, and started reading all the technical terms for which her 5th dropout butt would not understand.
You are not making any sense! Oh, you're lying! You taught him to lie! What kind of mother are you?
She finally breaks me. Apparently better than you. Did my friend show this to you, or did you open his phone without him knowing? Again.
That is none of your business!
I cut the call and immediately call my friend. I tell him everything. He's mad. This was the 6th time this month she had gone through his phone. Her excuse being,
I don't want any local harlot to corrupt his son. It is my duty to make sure his son marry a proper Sikh girl without any distraction.
Gotta love all kinds of Karens and the different forms they seem to take on. Overreact much? What a crazy lady. 2020 is shaping up nicely, isn't it? I mean, do all of you out there actually believe that music can cause the coronavirus? I'm pretty open-minded, but honestly think that's a silly idea, and this Karen was totally overreacting like a drama queen. Our final story is titled, Entitled Parent Comes In After Closing, Gets Caught Stealing, and Complains About Being a Single Mom. Closing the store, reaching to lock the front door, an entitled parent runs inside, says she just needs a couple things for her kids. Okay, we'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Continue closing duties. Notice her watching us and moving to hide behind end caps when she sees us look up. Got a bad feeling about her. Circle the store and sees she has a full cart and is sweeping more out of the dairy case into it. She is actually clearing whole shelves of things like cheese and yogurt into the cart. She tries to get away when I approach her, but the cart is too heavy for her to push fast. I catch up with her and tell her the store is closed and she must go to the register now because we need to disinfect for the virus. She goes to the self-checkout. We see her make the scanning motion, but not scan items and then put them in a bag in her cart. We call her out on this. She feigns ignorance. We make her scan it again. We got attitude. She got done scanning. We're pretty sure she phantom scanned more items, and we were distracted doing closing work. She has a big total, over $200. She pulls out a payment method that is clearly noted in the checkout area. We do not accept. She starts to throw an entitled parent fit. But she is put in her place about coming in after hours and knowing we don't take her payment method. More attitude. We get the manager on duty to try to help her. Between cash and debit and credit cards, she gets her balance to just under $100. Manager gives her the remaining balance and she asks,
"So what? I gotta pay that too?"
Manager tells her yes. She eyes the door. No way she can push the heavy cart fast enough to beat us to the door. Manager basically says that to her too. I add, yeah, and she's locked in too. Remember, we were locking up, so she can't get out unless we unlock the doors with a key. We can tell something is wrong. She is too nervous. I say, should we just return items until she's paid? Manager smiles and agrees, starts ringing returns. Entitled parent is complaining we should just leave her alone. It doesn't take long to find out why she's so nervous. Quite a bit of her stuff won't ring up because it's not on the receipt. She had tried refusing to hand over the paper receipt, not knowing that the manager has it up on his computer screen. Of course, none of the expensive baby/kid stuff was rung in. Formula, diapers, wipes, etc. She is so busted. She thinks she's going to jail, but we know the cops won't come out unless someone is bleeding or shots are fired. But we talk about the cops we know while trying to get her total down, just to wind her up more. She is finally paid in full. Over $200 worth of items have to be returned to stock. She paid for $100, tried to steal $100, and we returned $100. This bee came into a closed store, tried to steal $100 worth of merchandise, and wanted to be let off the hook for paying for what she kept. I got the pleasure of walking her to the doors. I made sure she went out to the door furthest from her car. While walking there, she is complaining about how we traded and saying she's a single mom. That crap doesn't flush with me. I say, so you're home all day with the kids? She said she is. Then I say, next time come in earlier. And by the way, you'll be using a cashier from now on. No self-checkout for you. Her jaw dropped. She went to say something else, but I shut the door in her face and locked it again. Had to get back inside and put her stuff back in the cooler. How do you get caught stealing and then complain the store takes the stuff off you? Entitlement. Just what was this self-righteous woman thinking? Not only was she holding everyone up who had put in their day's work and probably wanted to get home, but to try and steal so blatantly when everyone's eyes are on you? For shame. Every time I think I've seen everything, another entitled parent ups the ante with their privileged behavior and stupidity. But what do you guys think? Let's start a discussion below and talk about it. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for tuning into Life Stories. My name is Jesse, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Reddit content coming your way. We've got more exciting things in the works for you guys, so stick around, and we hope to see you soon.